Hello everyone, welcome to the online lecture of Vehicle Testing and Homologation. I am Milan Trivedi, Assistant Professor at LJIET Institute of Engineering and Technology. So in the last lecture, we had already started with our fifth chapter, that is road and track testing, and that we had already covered up with the different types of inspection and the pre-delivery inspection. Now let us continue with our fifth chapter with a very interesting topic, that is of wind tunnel testing. Normally this topic has been discussed under two categories of subject in the automobile field, that is in the vehicle testing part as well as in the vehicle dynamics also. We are going to understand what does this wind tunnel testing is. So let us elaborate that particular topic. Normally the wind tunnels appears like this, and it is having a spree of literally the wind on the particular automobile, and we are going to evaluate number of the aerodynamic parameters such as lift and drag. So let us understand that particular wind tunnel testing in detail. Particularly when we talk about the basic components of a wind tunnel testing, it appears like this kind of setup. Starting from the extreme end, we are having the narrow section through which the ambient air will taken inside. The center part is normally called as a test section, in which the automobile body on which we need to evaluate the lift and drag part would be kept over here. The next and the last part is called as a diffuser part, which is having a wide section, and at the end of that particular diffuser you will find that we are keeping one drive system, that is motor or a fan. But this fan can be of two types, that either it is a suction type of air fan which will suck all the air inside this tester section, or it can be a blower type of fan which will blow the wind on this particular tester section. So we are having this two different kinds of possibility as far as this wind tunnel testing is concerned. So let us have a quick outlook of how are the two wind tunnels forms. The basic wind tunnel which I had just taken right now, that is coming under this open tunnel condition. We had taken just reference of one NASA, that in which we are having this kind of possibility. The fan would be over here, the test section would be here, the entry region has been shown here, and the diffuser part is been shown over here. It is called as an open wind tunnel system because whatever the air which we are taking inside the test section, it is a fresh air. Every time we are taking air from the open air condition. So that's why it is being categorized under the open air or the open return type of wind tunnel. The next category is called as a closed wind tunnel system. From the diagram itself, you will get the idea what is the difference. If we have a look towards this particular apparatus, then it is similar to that of what we had discussed right now. But the scenario difference in this particular aspect, that instead of taking a fresh air every time inside the tester section, what we are actually doing is, we are actually circulating the same air inside one particular chamber. So that's why it is called as a closed type of system. In this, we are having this particular fan which will actually circulate the flow of air inside this particular tester section region. But the same air would be repeated again and again. And the tester section region in which our particular automobile has been kept, to that particular object, we are actually checking what is the lift force acting, what is the drag force actually generating, right, for the particular value of the flow of air. So that reading can be easily achieved with this kind of wind tunnel test. Now let us understand the next topic, that is corrosion testing. Basically the corrosion test is required in order to evaluate the life of the metallic components which we are using in the case of automobile. In order to do that particular testing or to check the corrosion time, we are actually having this kind of machine, that is a corrosion testing, in which normally there are three different kinds of chamber. First chamber is called as a dry corrosion, second one is a continuous sprays of salt, third one is a alternate salt spray type of chamber. This particular three scenarios would be checked. First of all, the component, metallic component which we are using, the sample of that component would be taken inside this particular machine. Then that testing of that particular component would be in under the corrosive environment would be checked, but the environment which is kept is a dry corrosion type of environment. So less formation of moisture would be there. Then we are having a moisture type of atmosphere along with the salt spray. We are using this salt spray just in order to increase the chances of the development of corrosion, that whenever the object is placed inside this moisture kind of atmosphere, along with that the atmosphere is also carrying some salt, then the chances of development of corrosion would be increased. That's why you may have noted that some of the residentials which is near to the sea coast regions are having more tendency to develop the corrosion, right? So the same kind of scenario would be developed under this continuous salt spray. And the third one is alternate salt spray. Some of the time the salt would be sprayed, other time the only moisture kind of atmosphere would be there. So that three different scenarios would be checked, would be produced, and the evaluation of that particular corrosion would on this test section would be evaluated under this corrosion testing. So that's all about the corrosion testing. Our next topic is the salt spray process. The normal scenario in which this is actually the inside view of that particular chamber itself. We are keeping this different kind of test sections, and through nozzles we will spray the liquid. Some of the times we are spraying the salt even along with the water, and some of the times alternately it will be having a salt spray. So that evaluation would be done in this corrosion test. Now let us discuss the last topic of the road and track testing chapter, and the prime topic of this particular chapter, that is track testing. Basically, we need to go for the track test just in order to evaluate the behavior of the vehicle under the different track condition. It is not obvious that all the time we are traveling in a flat road condition. Along with that, it is not obvious that each and every time the road condition, the weather condition would be similar. So just in order to evaluate the vehicle performance at the different scenario, we are doing this kind of track test. The testing agencies normally performs this kind of track test. They develop this different kind of test track. So let us just have an outlook of which are the different test track they normally prepare. The first one is the high speed track. This kind of track is normally a free track, and the best evaluation of the vehicle can be carried out, such as the best pickup, the best speed. That parameters can be easily checked, because this kind of track would be a hurdle free track. So you can have a maximum output of the vehicle. That parameters can be checked under this kind of high speed track. The second one is a straight track. In this particular straight track, obviously no hurdles would be there, but no curves even would be kept. You just need to drive in a straight lane, and what is the best mileage, best speed, that parameters can also be checked under this particular straight track. The third one is a paved track. From the diagram itself, you may get this particular idea. More of the time, this kind of military vehicles need to be traveled more across this kind of pavement surfaces, right? So what does the system of vehicle dynamics behave in this particular scenario? That part can also be checked under that. Fourth one is a pothole. We will be in India, actually we face this problem a lot during this kind of rainy season, wherever the chances of pothole development. So the condition of axle would be different, the dynamics of the vehicle would be disturbed. So that kind of parameters can be evaluated under this kind of pothole track. We are purposefully developing this kind of track. The fifth one is the corrugated track. In this corrugated track, you will find that the pipe kind of section would be kept in a sequence, and what is the behavior of this particular vehicle under this kind of corrugated track can be checked. The sixth one is a chassis twister track. From the name itself, you will get the idea that this kind of track actually twists the particular chassis. It will try to bend away the chassis. Then how does that particular stress can be overcome by the vehicle, that part can also be evaluated under this kind of track condition. Seventh one is a side slope. You will have a view like this. Instead of a straight flat track, we are actually allowing the vehicle to travel along the sideways. Eighth one is a vehicle dynamic track. Purposefully, this kind of track is to check the suspension behavior, the dynamics of the vehicle, that can be evaluated under this kind of vehicle dynamic track. Ninth one is a mud track. Whenever the mud surfaces are heavily lodged, normally the military vehicles need to travel along this kind of pathways very often. So that kind of vehicles would be checked under this mud track condition. 10th one is a water weight track. The track is actually filled up with the water and we are carrying out the vehicle testing on that particular track just in order to evaluate the behavior of the vehicle is the water weight track. And the last track, that is the gradient track. Gradient, the word indicates the slope. Whenever we are testing the vehicle across a slope, that is nothing but it is a gradient track. So that's all about the different test track condition. We are keeping up to this. Finally, thanks for watching.